you chat about the football?
No, just thanks to everybody who came. Thanks to yourselves. Thanks to everybody. It's a long time coming. A day-to-day, 24/7 kind of project, but we got there in the end, and everybody was part of it. Everybody supported and ensured that I had the best weekend to my life on the weekend there, and that was without pulling a bird. So delighted.
There you go, mate. Nah, more power to you. I was absolutely delighted for you, and you deserve every bit of it, because it was just as good for us. See, watching it, it was amazing. And I just thank you. And I'm not wanting your head to get too big, but somebody said to me a couple of weeks ago, he actually said, "See, Paul Larkin, this is what we've been waiting for all our life. Somebody that's willing to stand up to the bastards, and doing it for the right reasons." So there you go, mate. And that's for a major Celtic supporter.
Well, I really appreciate that.
So there you go. So
listen, Corpatch Bahoy, being fucking sook my root in the chat room there, says I mispronounced his name. There you go. Anyway, on to last Friday night then, the football. Jason, you were there.
I was there.
What was there? Obviously we spoke about it on the show. The reason we're going to talk about this is obviously not about Celtic, but we spoke about it quite at length last week.
Yep.
About how we felt it would maybe go, the Aidan McGeady stuff and that. What was your thoughts first? Well, we'll touch on the Aidan McGeady stuff first, then we'll talk about the football. Because obviously it was a big. It seemed like a big part of the night watching it on TV. I watched it at home because obviously I was a bit under the weather still. I never went to the pub, and I actually commented on my Facebook that I felt that a lot of the booing was quite embarrassing. I felt I was getting a bit of a red neck, only from the point of view that I felt like I had to go into my work and explain myself again the day, sort of thing, But I think a lot of it's maybe pantomime stuff and it's mob mentality and people just joining and shit they didn't even really fucking care about, if you know what I mean. But what was your take on that side of it? First of all,
well, I'd say 99% it was pantomime booing,
right.
But there was an element there. There was an element just sheer Scottish bigotry. Guy quite near me called him a Fenian bastard, and I went mental. And next thing, there was about 30 of them for Falkirk, and boy, did I see you, Jimmy, wiggling in a kilt. And next thing, his mate gubbed him. So him and his mate sort of started fighting, and his mate kind of set about him, and then they all got together. And at half time, the guy came and apologised to me. He said, "I don't know what got into me there. I know I shouldn't have said it." I says, "That's fucking racism." So, but then there was a fight across at the bit between the main stand and the Celtic end. I didn't see it. My mate Tommy, it was with me. He's seen it. I just seen the stewards all going up, so I don't know what happened. But I know my mate was there with his kids, and he left at half time because of some of the vitriol. But what I would say is 99% of the crowd were fine. And there was Irish fans everywhere. They had their tricolours hanging out the North Stand and everything. And when the Ireland fans were singing, there was Irish fans all on the ground joining in, and the vast majority of them got on fine. In all the pubs before it, Irish and Scottish fans mingling, no bother whatsoever. And in all the pubs after it, Irish and Scottish fans mingling, no bother whatsoever. Right. There was just an element of idiots at the game, and that was about it. But what I would say is, going to the toilet at half time and things like that, these Scotland fans are a fucking disaster. They are absolutely paralytic drunk, fawing about the place, and just acting like arseholes, basically. And you don't see that when you're going to watch Celtic in that stadium every week. You don't see it. Different kind of, and obviously a lot of them came for the Highlands and whatever, and they might have been drinking all day and stuff, but the game's on a Friday night as well, so I suppose if Celtic played on a Friday night, there's every chance you'd have a lot more drunk people there as well. But on the whole, there was an element of me at the first half after that guy said it, left her a sour bit in my mouth, but on the whole, I kind of thought that game would define me, who I was. I think it did. I'm Scottish. But at the end of the day, for me to leave...
You sound Scottish, to be fair, like.
Aye. But see, for me, sort of let a couple of bigots win, that's wrong. Do you know what I mean? And, it was... I don't know, it was funny, but when Scotland scored, I celebrated away, you know, and I'm absolutely delighted. And I was glad Scotland won.
I have to say, the feedback, there's a guy I work with, and
was he over at the game?
no, he wasn't at the game. He couldn't get a ticket, and but he goes to most Ireland games, home and away, like, no.
Right.
And a good few of his mates were there, and he says the feedback for them was just phenomenal. In Glasgow after it, he says never seen one bit of bother. They never ever felt that they were unwelcome anywhere they went. He says great. He says actually one of the things they kept saying, which was quite funny. He says Scotland fans kept coming out apologising for beating you and ruining your, because obviously you're here enjoying yourselves, and we're just kind of sorry we beat you to put a dampener on things a wee bit. And then he says, then they followed up with, and we're also sorry you are so shite.
do you know one thing as well? See, in the pubs in the city centre of Glasgow, all the Irish right in with the tricolours draped around them and that. And I thought that would have been a bit, you know, I thought pubs that weren't fit were pubs, obviously the Gallagher and that, you'd be fine. But no, absolutely fine. And the both sets of fans mingled, and I reckon 99.9% of the Irish fans that went home left with a very positive image of Glasgow.
Aye.
Absolutely, and that was excellent. You know, it was, and like, I mean, one of my good mates is Irish, and my other mate for Liverpool, his mum and dad Irish. He was he big Everton fan, but he was in Ireland then. One of my mates had an Ireland fan with a throat at the game because he was abusing Scott Brown. So you get bangers in both sort of sections, but on the whole, I'd say it was pretty positive on the whole.
I think that as well, though. The good thing about that is, not that I think it would have been any different anyway, but I think that bodes well for the game next June in Dublin. Because nobody's came back with bad stories or any bad feelings or that, or to where they're going to go and tell their pals, we'll sort the bastards out when they come here or anything like that. I don't think it would have been like that in Dublin anyway, like, no. Because it's a kind of party atmosphere city, like, no, and it's...
And all the Irish, we were well load the Irish after it, and everyone says the best team won. You know,
they definitely did. I mean, let's talk about the football then. I mean, the game was... I think Neil Lennon was working for RTE, and he was getting interviewed pitch side after the game. And he said something that really struck me. He says he felt Ireland played the occasion rather than playing the game, where Scotland played the game and didn't get caught up too much with the occasion. And I kind of see where he came from there. I think a lot of the Irish players maybe let it get to them a wee bit and probably didn't do themselves justice. I mean, I don't think they're a great team anyway, but I think they kind of let themselves down a wee bit football wise. I mean, Scotland were the only team that played any kind of football. Like. Do you not agree with that?
I don't think there was much football played in the game, to be honest with you, but what there was, it definitely came for Scotland. But at the end of the day, I think we need to speak about the goal. Scored in paradise, made in paradise. Mm-hmm. What a goal. Fucking hell, man. It was outstanding. Wee Maloney, the back flick for Brown and the finish for Maloney.
Wee Malaysian traitor.
It was fit to win any game, you know. But I've got a ticket for the morning night as well. I'm going to that game as well. So I don't know if international football's for me, to be fair. I like to see them win, but I don't think it's for me.
The thing about that game though on Friday night, as I said, I just watched it at home, and it wasn't a great game, but it was exciting because of the night it was in it, and it's Ireland v Scotland, and it's because we didn't have these sort of, obviously Ireland's not the home nations, but we didn't have those kind of international derby matches anymore that we used to when we were younger. Obviously we're playing England tomorrow night, but that definitely added to it, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like.
Aye. I mean, I think, as I say, I agree. Like, the game was enthralling without being much quality until the goal and stuff. And I know what JC means. You know, I want Scotland to win, but kind of want Ireland to win as well. Aye. And there was a couple of times when McGeady flashed a couple of shots, I would have leapt through the roof if they'd went in, to be honest with you, because of the fucking booing he was getting. And it's like, you know, as I say, I think it was just majority are just because they're half pissed and, I have to boo him. James McLean was getting a wee bit out. I was like, so how do you explain that one then? But the atmosphere was pretty decent, and you know, Ireland, they're not a great side. I mean, everybody can see that. Like, Scotland aren't really that much better. They're probably better organised. I mean, I thought Ireland had a few passengers on the night. Shane Long, dreadful. You know, McGeady was trying manfully to get them in the game and stuff like that. Seamus Coleman, who I think that's the next Gareth Bale in the making.
Seamus Coleman is the only Irish player of any real quality, in my opinion.
I mean, the guy is absolutely top. I mean, you're talking about a guy, Scotland's whole thing, they've got a lot of positive things coming for Anya's pace. Seamus Coleman would give the guy 5 yards a start, just taking it off him, you know what I mean? Just tremendous football player. And I think Ireland missed James McCarthy a lot.
Oh, definitely. There's nothing in the middle of the park.
But McCarthy would never let anybody settle on anything in that midfield because he just goes through people, And it was. But I think what you were saying there was right. The occasion was good. You know what I mean? It's nice to see a football match in Scotland that actually meant a lot and was kind of box office. Yep. I don't understand why we constantly have to have a fucking narrative about all the bad stuff that could go. And let's talk about the game. And as you say, Jason, what a goal! The awareness of Scott Brown, the beautiful technique of Maloney. Amazing to think that he's scoring a goal against a manager who gave him his chance in football. Of course, they didn't mention that in the commentary, but it was incredible, and it was I was pleased that Scotland won on the basis that if Scotland, I think they wouldn't have admitted before the game. If Scotland had lost that game, they were out. The way that group's gone now,
they would have had to went to Ireland and won, which would have tall order if you can't beat them at home. Do you know what I mean? And
I think Martin O'Neill was right. I think Ireland have got 4 home games left, and he said that's what will decide the group. I totally agree with that. If Ireland win the 4 home games, they'll be gone through.
Well, Ireland's 4 at the next 5 games at home, and to be fair, they've got Poland at home next, and the way they've played so far in this tournament, Poland would be favourites to win that game. And I'll tell you something, obviously the Aviva with the Polish the people that live here, they're all going to get their hands on tickets, and it's going to be a big Polish support there, and they're not a bad side.
I'll be honest with you, Harper. I think Germany will win the group, Poland will be second,
and they'll be third.
Scotland will get the playoff.
I am the same. That's the way I see it going as well.
I think Ireland will go it.
I mean, I watched I don't know if you've seen it, Harper. I watched the Poland-Georgia game.
I've seen the highlights.
What? I mean, fucking Poland dismantled Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Ireland, last minute goal to win there. Scotland, a 1-0 cagey game. Poland took them in pieces, and it was like, you know what? They're absolute quality. I think Scotland are a better team than Ireland right now.
I do as well.
No question about it. And the fixtures are going Scotland's way next because I think they play Gibraltar at home next, and so they would expect to gain points on the people that are around them at that time. But yeah, I think the game in Dublin will be absolutely crucial. It'll be absolutely crucial.
I can't wait.
And Ireland, it's no like, Ireland, the Aviva and that, I think you're right, Harper, it's not like people are going, oh my God, this is going to be mental, to try and beat Ireland in the Aviva. It's not really like that, you know what I mean?
No.
Even Scotland in the bad old days now, we're still getting results at Hampden against people because it was Hampden. There's Scotland have lost very, very few World Cup or European Championship qualifiers at Hampden or at home,
Yep.
There's Ireland, so there's certainly, but if, the thing about it is, and this is the bizarreness of the whole tournament, there's a great game there on the 14th of November, and then Scotland, and then there's the next games are in March.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could happen before then, with players and things like that,
See the thing that came out to me as well. See my mates who were in the Ireland end, who are Celtic supporters, like the Irish boys. They says one thing about Celtic Park that you don't realise is when seeing you're an away supporter in that corner and we score, they says, when the home team scores, Scotland scored, it says that stadium's coming in on top of you. It says you've no idea how fucking, it says being a Celtic supporter, you don't realise it. But it says when you're in that away end and the home team scores, he says it is unbelievable the racket that stadium creates. He says it's phenomenal. He says you can just look like fucking hell. So that's obviously a big benefit for Scotland as well. Because to be fair, when Scotland went 1-0 up, it didn't ever look as if it was going to. They did a couple of chances kind of near the end corners and stuff, but it didn't look as if they would have got a goal back.
See, talking about McCarthy, right? Jason, we can't go a podcast that mention Everton, obviously.
I'm fucking meeting with Martin.
Did you see? Have you read the stuff in that, today?
I read
He
bits
said,
of that.
I think it's something about, like, you know, says, I mean, this Martinez fella, he says, he's talking about James McCarthy, like, no, his legs hanging off, like, no. Next thing I see him walking